All right, we are live. We are back today for another episode of Awakening Spiritual Gifts. Every weekday at 11 a.m. here on our Facebook page and also our YouTube channel. So it's good to be back. And I'm excited to also learn more about the daily energy today, Martina, because it seems like you've been right on for many, many days. So
Yeah. Plus, we like after even yesterday, there was or the last couple of days, there's been some interesting things kind of rolling in that are now a little bit more understandable about what's in there. So I am excited. So, okay. So when I'm looking at what's going on today, um, it reminds me we've had a lot of energies that are, I think even like yesterday on the live, I kind of mentioned this, but it's kind of like breathing, right? Like if there's an enhancement of energy and like all these things coming in, and there's some productive energy of like some things being built, some people gathering together, like that's a little bit of the doing, kind of the exhale. And this week, and especially started rolling in yesterday, and especially today, it feels more like a little bit of a lull where it's kind of the inhale. Like let me just kind of pull in and inhale. Now, some things about this, like when I'm looking at, like when I'm watching it, it's kind of rolling in. It has kind of a water-esque kind of look to it. So it kind of rolls in like this. But then there's also these energetic, um, the only way I can describe it is kind of like raindrops that I'm seeing that are landing on people. And it can feel a little bit more, um, just kind of if you imagine like if you were out on a sunny day and then all of a sudden the clouds roll in and then there was a rainstorm, which I love rain. So some part of me is like, oh yes, that feels good. It's nice and cozy. But then if you're kind of stuck in the rain and then you're craving some sunshine, it feels a little bit darker, or like, oh, okay, I really want some sun. So that could be affecting you like this, where just things are feeling a little bit more cloudy the last day or so. Um, Maybe one clarity that you thought you had is just maybe not as tangible, or emotions that you thought, oh, I totally was good. I got rid of that one and I've overcome it. And then all of a sudden you're like, why is it kind of there, the back of my mind, just kind of, just starting to just weigh you down a little bit. The good thing though is because it is more like that raindrop kind of energy, that it can be, which I mean, it's like it can be more on the surface and not as deep and core changing as we've seen some of the energies, especially like, I think last month when we were seeing some of those like really strong truth, you got to get alignment, kind of drudge up some of the old stuff. It was very deep and very piercing. This isn't quite as deep and piercing and could be rocking your world a bit, pulling it out, but it could feel like it just because it's there. But that's some good news, that it's on the surface more. It's not going to be as um, tumultuous, or like as it doesn't long lasting, or even as painful. So it's important to take a step back, just understand that just because clouds roll in, the sun is still shining. The clouds don't get rid of the sun. It just maybe hides it for a minute. So keeping some of those higher perspectives, a lot of self-talk, a lot of maybe comfort. You may actually have to come in a little bit more, whether it be socially, emotionally, maybe even your physical, like your world, your home. Like you might just have to do some comfort and some, you know, uh, inhale time for all of that. I have pets in my room. I should have gotten rid of them. Anyway, so that's there. And I went through it like as soon as it started going in, and I've seen several other people, and it's good to know that it's not affecting like shaking some of the core stuff, but it definitely feels like, what's going on? Why am I feeling a little yucky or feeling a little heavier today? So something to be aware of.
yeah, I totally relate to that. If anyone else can relate to that, love to hear your comments, or give it a quick little emoji in the comments to let us know that that is resonating. So we had a couple people uh, write in to get their question asked. And you can do this. You can ask questions before during or after our Facebook lives. And there's a couple of ways that you can do it. And I'll just go through those really quickly. So you can comment in this particular post thread and ask your question there, whether it's before, during, or after. You can also email us. You can email weare@soulspectrumuniverse.com. And you can also send us a message through our Facebook page. And if you prefer to be anonymous, just let us know. Otherwise, we'll use your first name if it's email or messenger, just so that we can identify, or you can identify who we're talking about. So yeah, we'd love to hear your questions. So I'm going to go into this question that we received from Nicole. So we're going to just do a general reading for Nicole.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, for Nicole. Okay, so Nicole, what I'm seeing is that there have been things that have been in your eyesight, or maybe goals or dreams that you've been looking forward to experience or creating. And it's like, or even just something that you're looking forward to, but the way that it's moving down through you is maybe there's some disappointment there that you weren't able to experience it the way that you thought that you would. So it kind of comes in, kind of goes down and then into your heart, and there's a little bit of a letdown on that. It also has some, let me look at this a little bit deeper here. So there's something going on in the ears, and it's like I'm hearing things that are almost kind of in the background, but then also just that they're moving forward closer to your ears, where there's either a message or a song, or there's something that's supposed to flow through you. This could be anything from like music, like I was saying, like some kind of song, but it could also be a book that you're writing, and there's some help on the other side that is there wanting to tell you things in your ears, and you can capture it and write it. But it's just like I see it coming through the ears and out through the mouth. So there's something there to create. Also to give yourself lots of grace and compassion, because some of those things that maybe you have felt a letdown for, maybe they're not totally, maybe it's not over yet. Like maybe it's just a timing thing. Just like breathing, like I talked about breathing, like maybe there was an exhale period and now it's just time to kind of incubate and pull in. And then there might be another time that you go outward more again with it. So don't give up on some of those things. Just give yourself some grace and compassion, and understand that there is sometimes a time and a season. And like I was actually just having this conversation with my husband about this, is it's like, there's been times where we felt like, dang it, I'm not working towards my dreams right now, or working towards something, and it feels like I slid backwards. But then looking back at it, we realize, no, you know what? That was a total time of growth. It just was more like that incubator growth, where I was pulling in because there were things that I was supposed to learn, heal, grow, like experience. And then when I came back out, I was bigger and stronger and brighter, and had those tools that I didn't have before that incubator. So just understand that that's part of the timing in the flow, and to just trust it, and to give yourself lots of compassion and encouragement during those times where you feel like you may not be as productive or taking action like you would like to do. So.
Awesome. Okay, so let's go next to Amber. Would you mind looking at my pineal gland and tell me what's going on? Thank you.
Sure. I love the specificity of that. Like, let's look directly like at that one thing. Let's look. Oh, let's see here. You just got a lot going on. It almost looks like there was too much coming in, and it feels a little clogged, almost like there's a it's not disruptions. That's not the right word, but it was like too much trying to go through. Like if you had a circle and you're trying to put something through it, and then all of a sudden you try to shove too much at once, it kind of blocks it, just because it has to come in a little more digestible rate. And possibly even a strain of like trying to make it work, or develop it too quickly or force it at times that it wasn't supposed to be working. Sometimes our systems and our gifts are really funny. Like it is such a balance between, yes, I'm working and I'm intentionally creating and developing something, and then also I've got to take a break. It's like a muscle, right? It literally is like a physical muscle. There's a reason why we called the intuition gym the intuition gym, because these are like muscles that we develop and we work them out, and then there's times of rest and allowing. So there's something about with that, like it feels a little bit like it was been worked out, and now it's got to take a little bit of a break. That's how muscles are strengthened. Even just thinking about the logistics of working out, you work it out, you work a muscle out, and it like tears it down, and then you got to let it rest. And then as it rests, it builds up more strength, right? And gets bigger to handle more later. So if there's something like that, just allow it to be and just understand it, and just realize there's nothing necessarily per se wrong with it. It's just a little bit overworked or strained and having too much coming in. I am going to see if there is anything you can do to help it along additionally or beyond that. I'm seeing something like it could use more light. So I don't know if you have any, like at this time of year, I don't know where you live, but hopefully you're getting some sunnier days starting to come in as February is closing. Like I know where I'm at, we're starting to see some sun, but I would definitely recommend getting a daily dose of sun right there. I also have these healing lights. You could do some essential oils. I just need some really high vibe ways of caring for it. But especially light. If you can get whatever you can get with light, you could maybe even do like there's those, the infrared beds that you could get, like even some tanning salons, like some of those light things could be beneficial. So just some light. I just see it like just some areas that could use some brightening up and just some healing on it. Also, just make sure that your physical body is being taken care of. Hydration, again, light, that is part of our physical body. Light, hydration. I'm even seeing some citrus things that could help. Some lemon, drink maybe lemon water, some orange citrus, like just that fresh, maybe even diffuse some of those citrus essential oils. Just some of the light and the brightness there can also assist with it. So anyway, let me know how that goes. That was some pretty good specific like ways to help. So
awesome. Okay. Next question, Melissa, can you see any gifts I might have? I also rarely get sleep. Does it have anything to do with any gifts I might have? Also, do you see me getting married?
Okay, let's see. Okay. Sleep absolutely can affect. If your physical body, this is one of the things that I always feel a little sad when people are like, oh, I've got all these physical ailments, and what about my spiritual gifts? I'm like, sometimes when you've just got physical things, that is really loud, and you just have to take care of it in order to enhance some of the gifts. So, so yes, absolutely, sleep can affect it, but I'm going to even just kind of look into that a little bit more and see like what is the cause here and how is it affecting the gifts. Okay, I'm seeing a really kind of overactive mind. So when you're tired, well, first of all, that could even be contributing to the sleep. Is just the mind won't shut off. And then when you're there and you're thinking about developing your gifts and doing all of that, and then all of a sudden you activate that mind energy, like it almost is like, well, what about my gifts? How do I do it? Like it just can sit and spin. I got to say, like long term, that will wear your system out. That'll totally fritz out your adrenals. It'll make your body start shutting down if there's not some more ability there to just start calming it down. Some of the things that are driving the mind I can see is some really, really good, like very heartfelt, beautiful desires. Like I'm seeing it from your heart. It's like this desire to do things right. Like, I just want to make sure I'm doing it right, make sure I'm doing good, make sure I'm doing this. Like, it's just out of these really good desires. But just to remind you, there is no race at all. Like with anything that you're doing in your life, there is no race. So whether that's developing your gifts, whether that be sleeping, whether that be a to-do list the next day, there is no race. Okay, our whole journey, and actually the purpose of life, because there is no destination. And that's like this energy that I see running in you. It's like you're trying to achieve something or go somewhere or get to a place, but there is no such thing, because we are in this path of progression, and the journey is actually the goal, not the end destination. If you keep trying to reach a destination that literally doesn't exist, it just, you'll get to the point that you just feel, maybe you'll start feeling depressed, feel like you're not enough, you're not doing enough, you're not good enough. Like all of those enough type things that we have to overcome come from this belief of that there's a destination to reach. It's like, for some reason, our brains just do this. It's that happily ever after. If we just achieve it, then I can sit back on a lawn chair and sip my drinks and just live happily ever after and never have to do another thing. It's just simply not the way that the universe works or any of the divine laws. Like, I see Christy over there like, like, right? Because this is one of the things that we definitely dive into are these cycles, the ascension cycle, and how we navigate the ebbs and the flows and the challenges, as well as the times of growth. Like that is truly what life is. So if there could be something that you could, like, and this is with your gifts, with your sleep, and even it just feels like with your getting married too, is it's just this place of being filled and feel fulfilled and satisfied right where you're at right now, having gratitude and just feel a fullness right where you're at. And then as things progress, you still feel fulfilled and joyful exactly where it's at. It's more of a state of being that can take you through any ebb and flow and challenge and growth cycle. And you can still, it's that staying peaceful in the eye of the storm. So like, picture a tornado or a hurricane, but inside the eye of the storm, it's peaceful and calm. It's super, like the storm quiets down right there in the center. So the more peaceful and that grounded place that you can be, then the more things can swirl around you and you can withstand it all. So, anyway, and then also too, just physically, I would recommend some deep breathing. Maybe even integrate this into your daily routine. Get yourself out of the fight or flight and like a rushing thing. Just breathe. Slow breaths. Inhale, maybe you count to like 4 or 5, whatever you want to count to, and then exhale for the 4 or 5. And then, so there's all kinds of breathing exercises you can do, or we've got a bunch too. We've got some things in the intuition gym also about the breathing techniques, but breathing is super, super important to allow yourself to feel filled and not rushed or like empty. So just breathe. Anyway, I'd love to hear how that resonated with you, Melissa. I'm so grateful you asked that question. I think many of us relate to that.
Yeah, please let us know in the comments. We actually had a couple of people commenting. Amber said, "Thank you. That is really helpful." Bonnie Lee says, "Wow, that really resonates with me about life not being a race. No destination. What a concept." Totally. Life changing. Alicia said, "Yep, sign me up for that." So
Yeah.
yeah, very, very good. I see a new face. So we're going to go straight to her because she has not been on here to ask questions before. And so I'm going to go with her. Kareth. She has been recently seeing into the future, like 30 to 60 seconds into the future, not deja vu. It's a knowing that something is going to happen and then it does. What gift is this and how can it be developed?
Ooh, that's a juicy one. I love it. So pretty much that's just a spiritual gift, or that's a gift of precognition. So precognition can show up several different ways. and I'm curious to even know a little bit more about how you're experiencing it, because you say seeing into the future, but then you also say a knowing that something's going to happen. So it sounds like it could be some of that clairvoyant and a claircognizant, with the clear, the knowing and the seeing how it's going to happen. So I'd be really curious to know how you're experiencing that. I had one of my daughters had that quite strongly. And it was a kind of a combo, just like I was saying. It's just like she just knew something was going to happen, and then she'd get the visuals of how it would play out. Sometimes it would be, sometimes it would happen, but then sometimes it wouldn't. And she was just like, why am I getting some of this and some not? And it was like, I truly think that it was almost like she was tapping into some of the possibilities, like, oh, this could happen or this could happen. Like she's seeing kind of the possibilities of the moment. But then as the gift settled down and she started to trust it and lean into it more, it just started becoming like this second nature. So to me, hearing that you're having this is just an up-leveling of your gifts and abilities, and it can be used for really great good. I mean, like that's a really powerful gift to have. It can, like for her, she never plans what she's going to wear because she dreams it the night before. She just knows it before she even puts it on. And I mean, so it can be as simple as something as like what you're going to wear, or it could be, especially this gift, I could see that how it could be really valuable for a speaking voice to be a voice of warning. I'm thinking of all those prophets and the watchmen and stuff in the scriptures. It's like, I truly believe that they had some of this gift of, I know what's going to happen. If you don't change your ways, XYZ is going to happen, and so it can be that voice of warning. It can also be a voice of comfort. It can be a voice of, something's going to happen. You'll be able to know preemptively how to serve someone or to help them. So yeah, how can it be developed? Part of this stage, if it's coming in like that, part of it is just to observe and experience it. Maybe you even journal or take notes, but right now it's this moment of experiencing it and learning what it is and how it speaks through you. Like I did kind of mention how the gifts work through our spiritual senses. And for those that are watching, if you have not done our webinar, we go through 10 different spiritual senses. And these are what I'm talking about, like the receivers. And so, and then the gifts, work through the receivers. So right now it's just a matter of you've got this gift. Clearly it's a precognition gift. And then how is it working through you? How does it come in? How do you see it? How do you feel it? How do you know it? Is it around a particular theme? This is another interesting theme, is perhaps you have been endowed with a particular gift around a certain themes and situations that you're like, whatever you're called to do or to who you're supposed to serve, you may have those, you have more specifics because it's like your stewardship, right? It's like God calls you into a certain path. And so he's giving you these abilities and gifts that are like your stewardship. Where somebody else may have similar things and it's about something different. But yeah, lean into that, learn it, start tracking how it comes in and how it speaks through you. So very cool. I'm so glad you asked that. That's fun.
Yeah, that is so cool. And I'm like, how can we expand this from 30 to 60 seconds to maybe longer in the future? Maybe that's step number 2.
It is because 30
So
to
cool.
60 seconds is like, I just saw that happen in my head. Like that's almost a direct witness. And then it starts, you might have actually, in fact, I'm just going to go out on a limb and I bet you've actually had some of these abilities before that even too. Maybe you've had a dream about something and then it happens later, or just like a feeling. And then later you're like, I don't know how, but I knew that would happen. But now it's just getting really heightened and really specific. And so it's like, as you learn it, and then eventually too, you can also tap into it. Like one of the things that I do when I'm looking at time, I'm not I don't do future telling or anything, but I can follow the energetic path on a timeline. And it's like I sit there and I'm like, okay, this choice and this scenario and the way it's going, and I can kind of watch it in my mind and like how it would play out. And then if something shifts, how would this play out? Like I can almost I can track and follow these different paths. And so you would probably be able to do something similar with following a path and then course correct, being able to just be like, here's what you can do to shift paths to avoid the doom that might be coming your way. I mean, like you can almost hear like this prophetic warning voice, like warning and being a watchman, helping people avoid things. So very cool.
Okay, I think we have time for 2 more. So, and we have 3 so far in questions, that is. So, if I don't call on you, then please come back tomorrow, or we can start the show off tomorrow with your questions. So, door number 1, 2, or 3, Martina?
2.
Okay, we have Bonnie Lee. Can you look at my pineal gland too? I feel like there's a block to my intuition flowing, if that makes sense.
Okay. Okay, right off the bat for you, Bonnie Lee, great question. I'm actually seeing like the energy that I'm seeing in the gland. I do see it blocked a little bit, but it's not like a dark block. It is filled with light, which tells me like whenever I see light and blocks, then it's making me think actually that you have some other gifts and abilities that are waking up. And it's like, it reminds me of, someone who loses their eyesight and then all of a sudden they develop like super hearing, or someone, you know what I mean? Like you shut off one sense and some of your other senses can heighten. So I'm getting that maybe you've relied on that pineal gland and some of the spiritual sense through your sight. And now it's like, now we're going to shut it down a little bit, Bonnie Lee. So you don't get to have all that access. And that's to strengthen some other gifts and abilities. And then as you gift and you strengthen those, and then this one opens back up, then you've just up leveled and you have all of these gifts and abilities that are heightened. So I would maybe do some self-reflection there. What else is coming in for you? What else? What's developing? What are you drawn to? What other senses are pricking and receiving information? And then it'd be really interesting that as you lean into those, do you find that your sight, your pineal gland actually is more open in that area? Because it doesn't seem like as when I'm looking at this, it's not a physical block. It's not, I can actually see like you desire to be healthy physically. It's not spiritual. It's not the overwhelm like some of the other things I saw. It literally is just like, and like a little light filter kind of blocking just for a minute, just so you can strengthen. So let us know on that. That's really cool.
Yeah, for sure. Let us know. That would be amazing. Okay, so we have 2 other questions, and I feel like this is a good time to just kind of clarify the types of questions that we can answer. One question is about someone else, and although it's phrased like how can I help this other person develop their gifts, it's about another person. So we want to make sure and just underline the importance of having someone else's permission. All we could look at really, or Martina can look at, is like the exterior, like how they can help, how you can help that person, but not really look at that other person's energy. And then the other question has to do with future telling, like, can you see me doing this in the future? And yeah, and so feel free to rephrase any of these questions. So future telling, fortune telling, future predictions are tricky because the futures can change depending on even micro decisions or changes in your present. So that adds up to like a lot of potential futures. So those are the 2 difficulties with the 2 remaining questions. So if you want to rephrase, we have time for 1 more question. Also, a couple little feedback items. So, Kareth, I don't know if you saw this when I put this up earlier. She says that she has Before in Dreams. And then Bonnie Lee was just like, yeah, that's so interesting about her reading. So that's really great. Yeah. And if you guys haven't checked out yet the Spiritual Senses quiz, I'm actually going to put that up here in the ticker below. This will identify what your top spiritual senses out of the four most common. And then we actually have a really amazing training that we put together that talks about all 10. So I'm going to put that URL up as well in the banner that you see there. So you can check that out. We're only going to have that webinar up a few more days. So if you haven't already, check that out. If you're a member of the Intuition Gym, it will be inside of the Intuition Gym. And let's see if we have anybody rephrasing their questions. Nope, we don't. So you guys can come back tomorrow, or you can also rephrase like after the fact. You can email us, you can message the page, you can comment in this thread, and we'll have some time to do that. Oh, we have Andrea. Is that okay?
Mm-hmm.
About to end. Okay. Do you see that my body is in a healthy state to have a successful pregnancy? Much better question, Andrea. Thank you for rephrasing.
Yes, I love that. Yeah. Okay. So let's look at this. So the first thing when I look at your energy, I can definitely just see, it's like I just see your eyes and I hear all the concern. And even just looking down, feeling your heart and just it's like this concern and care for your body in that area and wondering, like it's a lot of heartfelt energy there. So I got to just kind of move through that one a little bit because it's big. I can feel your heart. I can feel your desires and even the longing there. It's big. Okay. And then when I go into that, there's some, I can see some connections there with the mind and then down to that area of the body, like our whole, like that whole power center where it's just it's connected to creation and everything. And so some of that I can see, I'm not going to look in the mechanics so much of it, like, although I can, but I feel like right now, this is what's coming up first and foremost. And there's some beliefs because there's energy coming from the head down to that area, then, and also, like it could require a little, or it is asking for a little bit more light and vibrancy in that area. And this clearing some of the thought patterns around it will help give some more of that light and that vibrancy to it. So some things to clear or to evaluate in the thought process down there could be anything from shame, feeling any kind of restriction, especially like sometimes if we've been raised in a household and taught that we got to be a good girl and be super virtuous and chaste, and like all those things are really good. But I'll tell you what, like inside your relationship and marriage, like there can be kind of an unleashing of that creation. There's nothing wrong with sexuality. It's part of who we are. It's part of the way we're made. We're supposed to be sexual and creative and expressive. Okay. And to whatever that level looks like for you, that's for your own journey and for you to decide, you know, with your husband, with God, like, I mean, like whatever healing that place is. So it feels like there's some restrictions and beliefs around sexuality and that area. So, shame, let's see what else kind of things that could, perhaps any kind of wounding, feeling like you got to hide, like even bless all the people, like to be modest, like, you know, you can like sometimes the modesty thing can backfire for people, like to be modest and then feeling like there's shame and I got to hide something. Also there's something too about, loving your body even more. And I do see that you have been working on this. So I just want to say kudos. I'm seeing the like effort. I'm seeing that you're growing in that area, but it's a type of loving your body that also is a freedom and freedom to express. So when I'm saying like, you know, there's like the sexual side of it, but there's also just like the sensualness of, and I mean, just even like sensory, like just being alive and feeling your body and just loving your body and moving your body. What are you doing to love and move your body to a place that just feels like, oh, I just love being here and feeling things and breathing the air and tasting this food. And, like, so I would just start activating some of those things and just allowing yourself. It makes me almost want to cry. Like, it feels like there's something there that has been confining you and making you feel like it wasn't okay to move and to express and to be into your body, like with such a fullness and beauty of being not only human, but being a woman and being female and just all that femininity. There's so much beauty and to the feminine body. Like, we're meant to be that receivers, and there's so many gifts there. So I just want to even exhale and breathe. So I would encourage you to unleash some of those energies and release yourself from any of those beliefs or emotions that are keeping it bound, so that you can have the freedom to create. And it's not being bound by any of those judgments or should energies that are so confining. So let us know on that. Sending you love.
Yes, for sure. Like, so much love. Like, I totally relate in so many ways to that struggle. So thanks for asking that. Okay, so Jennifer has some feedback. She says, thanks to all those who ask questions. I received so much by being able to reflect and find truth for myself as Martina off answers. Thanks to Christy and Martina for this opportunity and platform. That is so amazing. Thank you so much for that. That puts a smile on our face. And Amber writes, I agree, and so true, from Alicia. So thank you so much for those comments. And we would love to have you pay it forward. Like, there's many ways that you can do it. You can share this live stream to your profile. You can tag friends in the post. You can send the live stream in Messenger. And you can also invite friends to like the page. So that's so awesome that you guys, we see a lot of regulars, and it would be amazing to grow this as well, because we do benefit so much from all the contributions here. So once again, we thank you for coming, and we'll see you tomorrow at 11 a.m. Mountain.
Thank you, everyone. See you next time.